Welcome back to Ritual Hobby and Art. Today I'm going to do a very brief flip through of my completed pages from this book, Worlds Within Worlds by Kerby Rosanes. Many of you watching this are very familiar with this book, but several of you are not. And so for those who are not, this book is one of those books that kind of really takes adult coloring to another level. And so I'll give you an idea, some of the very large pictures that are inside. This is what they call a double page, but there's also single pages as well. Just a lot going on with these images, and another double page. Just a lot of detail, a lot of very intricate detail, things going on. Kerby Rosanes' books, his illustrations always show a lot of things like this. And so I will say that when I start to attempt these things, I find them very intimidating. I will say very intimidating, and I know others feel the same way. But I mean, there's no reason to be intimidated. It's supposed to be fun. And I would say for myself, this hobby is kind of along the least priority. My number one hobby is woodworking. I have a whole channel devoted to that. And then painting, collecting, puzzles, and then somewhere down the line, coloring. So don't worry, this is not going to turn into a coloring channel. Just sharing some of the stuff I've done here. So start out at the beginning. I'll just show you the ones that I've done. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the materials I used. Worn already, which is kind of odd for a... So I got this book in 2020 and started right away, and then over the years I kind of stopped. I've been doing a lot of the Creative Haven books, the George Tufexis books, so I haven't colored any of these things. I kind of figured I would do these at the end. And those of you who know these books, you know about this hidden items in one page referencing the item in the next page. I won't show you any of that stuff. I don't ever show that stuff. But I will say that at some point I started coloring that item the same color. So whatever the hidden thing was, I colored what I was going to color that item in the next one. So those of you who know about this book, you might look out for that. But otherwise, this is the first one I did back in 2020, and I had no consideration whatsoever for color schemes or anything like that. And I didn't do a background. You'll see several I didn't do a background because I'm kind of intimidated by backgrounds, and some I just don't want to do them. So when I say I had no consideration for color, I've got some colors in here. This one, this one. Some of these should not be in the same picture with each other, or shall I say, normally color experts say not to mix them, but you know, it's a coloring book. Do whatever you want. But you will see as we go, I start using a color wheel, and I start approaching this more like an art project rather than fun coloring. And usually I'm using the complementary colors. I'm using the triad or the larger triad, the tetrads. Basically, whichever color I feature, I'm trying to avoid the two colors that you're not supposed to use, the contrasting bad colors. Oh, whatever. So, let's see here. I will say, okay, most of these are done with Prismacolor Scholar. So that's this set right here. I got these for like $20 on Amazon back in 2020. You can buy 12 of these at Hobby Lobby for like $24. Yeah, crazy. Don't buy these in stores. Buy it on the internet. So anyway, all right. Here's the what I call the moon forest, and again, very kind of, you know, my skills are not the greatest, but I enjoy doing it. And then we have the Tortoise Manor. So you'll see some improvement as we go here. Now this one, the skull, Viking skull, I did use water-soluble pencils. You can tell that the background's got some water-soluble pencils. I used some marker in addition to the Prismacolor Scholar. And then This one, the City in a Tree, that's all going to be the Prismacolor Scholar. And of course, I'll tell you when I use something different. This one took me several months because I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And so this is all Prismacolor Scholar. And it just took so long. Mainly because of the background. I'm not as good with backgrounds as I know a lot of people are, and it just takes time. So here we have the dragon, or the serpent, or whatever you want to call it. I really liked this, really enjoyed this. This was, probably the one I enjoyed the most. But you can see that red, yellow, blue kind of combination. I think we did it based off of red. So it's not a lot of green in here. It was really the red, the blue, and the yellow triad that I used. You got a little bit of these colors here coming off of that. But for the most part, it's just a triad. And then got the stork bird with a little village in the back. And you got the this is one a lot of people enjoy doing. Sometimes people will make a pupil, and so everything on either side will be darkened, and you'll just see the city. I decided to put the whole city in. There's just different unique ways of doing this particular one here. All right, this is what I called the steampunk city in a book. This was done with the Prismacolor Scholar, but also water-soluble pencil or acrylic paint. I can't remember which. Here's a picture of this before I put that on. So you could see the difference between before and then when I did this. And that was, I had to think a little bit before I decided to go ahead and do that. All right, the ocean monuments. This was done with Crayola. So this is a Crayola Blend and Shade set that I got several years ago. That is what I used for this one. All right. This one, I used Kalour Premium Pencils, which is this set here. This was also a low-priced item off of Amazon. I do watch some other videos. I'm almost exclusively watching Sandy's Color Creativity and Robin's Color Me Whimsy. And Sandy had shown this on one of her videos. And so I bought them, and I really like them. I really like the way those come out. So this was done with that. The globe, I'm not sure. I think the globe was done with the Prismacolor Scholar, because I did this one long before I did this one or this one. I think this one was done like after this one. So this was probably done with the Prismacolor. And I didn't do a background because I didn't want the background colors to interfere with the globe itself. So something I had decided not to do. And then this one, I did this rather recently, the end of 2022, early 23. I did the octopus, and I really wanted it to look kind of menacing, fully red. And of course, the video doesn't really show a good shot of it because the light. Whereas without the light, you get the idea. So let's see. When there's one, here we go. The two crowns. I worked on this last year. This one I did first, and I did it based on the crown that King Charles was having his coronation in. And there's a name for it, and I don't remember it exactly. I also decided not to do backgrounds on these. The color scheme for these are kind of opposites. So this is the yellow and red, and this one's the purple and the green. purple and yellow are opposites, red and green are opposites on the color wheel. So you got red and green, and then you see purple and yellow. And so I did that on purpose. Now, of course, this is based on a real crown. This one, I just made it up. And so that's kind of how I did that one. So right now, I just started this one, the compass. And I went with a purple. I wanted to do a purple compass. I didn't know what I wanted to do with this. At first, I thought about using some silver. This is a combination of using both the Prismacolor Scholar along with the metallic colors that came with the Kalour set. So I've got some of those in here. It's some odd colors, and some of these creatures I was going to color red. I do want to use a background, but I have no idea what to do. So if you have any ideas for a good background for this, a color or a scheme, let me know in the comments. It takes me weeks, months, almost years to do these, and I'm not even halfway through this book. The halfway point for this book is somewhere around the Terranium, so it's going to be a while before I get there. So there we go. This is technically the middle of the book. And so, maybe I'll finish this book in 2027, 2028. Again, this is not my number one hobby. And so woodworking, painting, puzzling, they always take priority over this. But I do enjoy coloring, sometimes in the evenings. It's very relaxing. Except, of course, when you're doing a Kerby Rosanes, they can be a little intimidating. But still fun to do. So let me know what you think in the comments, and continue enjoying your hobbies.